welcome to the Friday Fraudster podcast. Join them as they discuss sad, funny, and sometimes disturbing fraud stories. Be sure to catch past episodes on your favorite podcasting platform or go to www.fridayfraudster.com and grab some CPE while you're there.
Well, hey, welcome, friends, to episode number 120. Who'd have thunk we'd have made it this long? Of the Friday Fraudster. Oh my goodness, everybody's here today. You guys must be here to see one of our special guests today. Hey, Leslie, what's going on, Leslie? I don't want any conflict, so I'm going to be real nice to you. Stephanie is here. Hello from Idaho. Gail is here. What's going on, Gail? What is going on? And Stephen Ing is here. My man, Stephen, what's happening? What's happening? So, listen, you guys, I want to welcome you to today's episode, but I also want to invite you to go over to your favorite podcasting platform and give us a 5-star rating. I think we're worth it, don't you? The other thing that I'm wondering is most people here are auditors and compliance professionals. Why don't we have our own collaboration community? Well, we do. Here's what I want you to do. There's a QR code you see on the screen. I want you to tap that QR code and go over to our WhatsApp community. And if the QR code is too hard, just go to links.thatauditguy.com/WhatsApp. You can collaborate, communicate with a bunch of other auditors. I say a bunch, we're just starting the community. So there's only a handful of us right now. But hit that QR code. Now, as you all know, we rotate special guests on the show. That is what we do because it's fun that way. One of the benefits of coming onto the show is, though, you get to collaborate with a bunch of other auditors. You get to improve your communication skills, and guess what? You get CPE. So, special guest today, don't let me forget to give you your CPE certificate. So, who's going to be our next special guest? The only criteria is being able to put up with me for about an hour. That's the only criteria. So, without further ado, let's bring on today's special guests. One of them you should recognize from her book club, Miss Benita Lee, and the other one, Clarence Trainum. Hey, listen, why don't you guys introduce yourselves? Tell everyone who you are, what you do, or your favorite food, or anything that you want to tell people. Doesn't matter. Whatever you want to tell them. Ladies first.
Okay, I'll go first if Clarence is muted there. I'm Benita Lee. I am a trade compliance professional. So the internal auditing I do is targeted specifically towards cross-border transactions. I'm a consultant and I'm the host of Virtual Book Club.
So basically, if I want to smuggle something across the U.S.-Canadian border, I should call you to figure out the best way to get the chocolate from Canada to U.S.?
No, you should not tell me about that. Smuggling, you should not tell me because I will be obligated to tattle on you.
Oh no! So you're a mandated reporter. Oh boy.
Well, I lose my customs designation if I'm involved in something like that, right? Like you would lose yours.
But if we want to know how to comply with all the custom regulations, then we call you.
That's right.
Okay. Gotcha. I was confused there. Clarence, my man, what's going on?
How are you? How's everybody doing?
Tell everybody who you are, man.
Again, I'm Clarence Trainum. I work for the state of Maryland. I've been a state employee 29 years. And we work with agencies that have repeat findings from our state auditors. So we help agencies in that way. It's an interesting job. You see a lot of things.
All right, so look, let's go ahead and get this party started real fast here. You know how we do it here. We give away prizes and surprises, and you should know what to do if you want to be put in the drawing to win a prize. You take the hashtag that audit guy and drop it in the chat, or you can just copy and paste the hashtag that I just dropped into the chat. We've got Shree joining us from YouTube. She says, "Hi, Benita. You know
Hi,
what?
Shri.
Speaking of YouTube, did you know that that audit guy is on YouTube? I think you should go and subscribe to the channel simply because, well, I just asked you to. And I'm dropping the link to that in the chat as well." He says, "Hi, Clarence. So, listen, you guys, it is getting close to Christmas time. So, how many of you all mail packages off to loved ones around Christmas and Thanksgiving of every year? Benita, you mail packages to people?
Yes, I do. Or I get packages. I get cookies.
Ooh, you get cookies. Clarence, you
Yeah.
mail packages off to people around Christmas time?
Sometimes I do. My
Sometimes,
wife
yeah.
usually do it more than I do.
Right. But somebody in the family mails packages off, right? So have you ever had a package go missing? Uh-oh. Clarence says yes. What happened, man? What happened?
I ordered a package one time and they said they had shipped it, but I don't know what happened to it. They said the post office said it was lost. They could never find it.
Ooh. That's gotta be that's horrible when that happens. What about you, Benita? You ever had a package go missing?
Oh, yeah. Tons
Did
of
they
times.
ever find it?
I don't remember what happens when it's a retailer. I think they replace the item, or you're on the line for it. You've paid your money already, so you're on the line for it. And then the other day, somebody that had lived in this condo got mail, and he's moved out. Right, I'm the new tenant, and I got what was noticeably a check for him. So I was thinking about that. I left it on the concierge desk, but maybe I should have done something else with it.
Ooh. Yeah, maybe so.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow. Now. Uh-oh, I can't see who this is. A LinkedIn user says, "I have things direct shipped from Amazon mostly." Yeah. It's very interesting because nowadays packages can go missing at the blink of an eye. Let me show you a video of just how strange things can happen when packages go missing. I tell you what, because it can make you mad. 'Cause you
Mm-hmm.
wonder what happened to my package. So check this out. Let's let the video look at it. He's looking for the package. Watch this UPS driver as he's delivering a package to a house. And look at what happens. There's the package. Boop. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
Although I'm sure most times nowadays, it's probably not packages legitimately going missing. Nowadays, it actually is probably packages being stolen. But it's got to be hard to be a postal service worker, right? Because you run the risk of being attacked. Could you imagine walking up to somebody's home, delivering a package, and the next thing you know, this happens to you?
Oh my
Or
goodness.
being an Uber Eats delivery driver, right? And
Right.
then having to run for your life. But apparently what is happening nowadays, though, is that we're having a lot of thefts of packages and a lot of robberies for U.S. postal workers. As a matter of fact, in the budget year 2022, ending in September, there were 412 robberies of U.S. postal carrier workers. Now, that seems like a high number. However, for the 6 months ending March the 30th, because they run from October to September. So in the 6 months ending March the 30th, they had already had 305 postal carriers robbed. What do you guys think about that?
I didn't know it was so dangerous to be a postal worker.
Neither did I.
I know at one time they had stopped them. That's why they wanted everybody to start having like checks direct deposited, because I know in the past they were getting robbed. People had retirement checks and stuff like that come in the mail. So I know people were robbing during that time. Certain times of the month they were getting robbed.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, porch pirates, they follow the delivery drivers, yeah, so that they can attack you. Oh boy. Now, Shri says, I used to deliver food. It was crazy. People running after you, not their dogs, but the people. Oh, now that's interesting. The people. Wow. Wow. Interesting. Oh, Shri said they steal her mail. Who stole your mail? How did that happen? That is insane. Here's another interesting stat for you guys, though. For the 6 months ending March 30th of this year, there were more than 25,000 reported thefts from mail receptacles, including those blue mailboxes that you see on the side of the road and everywhere, which is interesting because for the same 1-year period for 2022, there were 38,500. So in 6 months, we have well more than half of the entire year for 2022. That's insane. So now that brings us to our story for today. That brings us to our story for today. The story revolves around a group of 4 men who are facing multiple federal charges for their involvement in a complex scheme that targeted postal collection boxes in Carbondale, Illinois. The individuals involved in the scheme, well, there were 4 of them. And according to the indictment, the scheme operated from March 26th of 2020 until July 1st of 2020. So they're accused of stealing and altering over 100 checks that were mailed to more than 50 postal customers. And the estimated loss is $400,000. Now, here's the thing. Nita, Clarence, I know you guys have read the story, but let's just say if you didn't read the story, how in the world could they have stolen from over 100 customers? 50 customers.
Well,
procedures.
Did you say it was egregious?
No, I said they know the procedures. Let's say
I see.
mail and stuff is coming through the system. And say if something is damaged or whatever, it's a check. It's probably something you should do with it. Let's set it to the side, so they knew what to do and how to conceal it.
Right. Knowing the procedures. And what really jumped out at me was the date, because that was like when we were all locked down and people were getting checks from the government for like the pandemic.
Mm-hmm. And keep in mind, they quote unquote was probably trusted employees, so nobody would suspect them of doing anything wrong in the first place.
Yep. Now, Stephen Ing says mail theft is so common up in New York where he lives. Now, Stephanie is on to something. Ding, ding, ding. You know what? I think Stephanie has a secret life as a private investigator, because on every show she's dropping gems. The master keys have been being copied for the big mailbox kiosks in neighborhoods too, or just busted open. Now that's interesting because not a lot of people know about the master keys and how that operates. But I'm with Clarence. They had to have known the procedures. And in knowing the procedures, they could then exploit what was happening. So let's talk about what they did. Apparently, they did just that. They stole master keys to gain access to the boxes. Once they had possession of the checks, they proceeded to alter the payees and the amounts of the stolen checks. And then the next step involved depositing these checks into bank accounts belonging to their co-conspirators. And then they transferred the funds to their own accounts. So think about this now. There's some huge repercussions of this if they were taking the checks, changing the payees as well as the amounts. Ooh.
Yeah, and then I wonder if their co-conspirators are in trouble too.
But you know, another thing, if they're taking the checks and deposit them into a bank account, sometimes, depending on the bank you go to and tellers know you, I would have to think where they on it, because if you having all these different checks coming in, let's say if they was doing it all at one time or over a period of time, sometimes people get a little suspicious of that. So did they have somebody at the bank also involved with it?
Oh, that's a good question. See, I didn't even think about it like that. I thought about it another way. That's a good question, because here's how I thought about it. Let me just get my thoughts together. I thought, because I couldn't find how they got caught, I was thinking that maybe someone at one of the banks alerted them, because if they changed the payee and the dollar amount, it is possible that they overdrew some people's accounts. And so the bank may have seen a check coming in asking for $5,000 from somebody who has an average balance of maybe 1,000, and that could have tipped them off. But you bring up a good point, Clarence. Could there have been someone at one of the banks actually working with them?
The reason why I bring that up is because one of the organizations I belong to, some checks were stolen. So when they went and they discovered that the checks hadn't been deposited, they went to the bank. Somebody had cashed it, and I'm like, okay. So when you cash in a check of a certain amount, you use the actual IDs, and some of them take fingerprints and stuff like that. So nobody did that. So now automatically, I'm thinking to myself, somebody at the bank was involved with that.
Ah, gotcha. That makes sense. So let's talk about the banks involved, though. There were several banks involved. The Bank of Carbondale, First Mid Bank and Trust, First Southern Bank, Legence Bank, Regions Bank, and Wells Fargo. Now, thankfully, all of those banks are FDIC insured, so they will get their money back. But thankfully, all of those banks are insured. But those are all of the banks. Wow. Yeah, Clarence, you brought up a really good point, though. I really never thought about it like that.
And again, think about, do they use those banks all the time? Do they all have accounts there? Do they have multiple accounts there? I mean, or they just funneling the money through certain accounts?
Ah, very, very true. Now, Stephanie says they also go to new employees when going to the bank. They are not looking for red flags on checks because they're inexperienced. They are more concentrated on conducting a transaction. Yeah. Fun fact, I used to be a bank teller when I was in college. Now, that was many, many, many years ago. But you're right. When you're inexperienced, you just want to make sure that your draw balance is at the end of the day. But as you get more and more experience, you start to think about fraud that could be happening. Stephanie says Wells Fargo. Shocker. And Leslie said that she subscribed to my YouTube channel, and I do thank you. She dropped her YouTube channel in the chat. Listen, here's what I want you to do. Go and right-click and open up her YouTube channel in another window. Don't close out this window. And go and subscribe to Leslie's YouTube channel. Okay, so let's talk about this for a minute though, because a lot of people, Stephanie brought up a really good point about the keys. A lot of people don't know how that process works. But if you live in some sort of multifamily community, or if you work in an office building, obviously the postman or woman doesn't come around to everyone's desk. What they do is they have a key keeper, and that's a small box that stores keys for postal workers with access to buildings and mail rooms and things like that. It allows them to deliver mail to restricted areas. So what happens is when a delivery needs to be made, the postal worker will open up the key keeper box with the master key, take the keys to the property, deliver the mail, and then return those keys. Now, that master key is actually called an arrow key, and it's just a special key that the U.S. Postal Service workers have. That's it. So instead of them having to carry multiple keys, they have a master key that unlocks a box with other keys in it. So apparently, these individuals actually stole the master key.
Maybe they had the master key from a previous job.
Or was one of them a supervisor? You would think a key like that, it would be restricted. So they were one of them in a position where they had access to the key.
Right.
Yeah, I'm thinking this one might be, we might find out as an inside job. Yeah. Someone who used to work at the Postal Service or someone who works there now. Here's what's interesting though. There was an indictment against 4 individuals. 3 of them have been caught or have turned themselves in. Now, let me remind everyone, an indictment just means that there's an allegation. It doesn't mean that you're guilty. However, one person is still on the run, and police are asking for any information on that one person. So one person is actually still on the run. Now, Gail says here in Barbados, things are a bit different. You have to be at home, sign off for all packages delivered, and you need to have a gazillion forms of ID to cash a check. I guess it's a cultural difference. Yeah, I mean, here in the States, we have to have convenience, right? And so sometimes we risk things for convenience. Yeah, it would seem like you would want to identify people so that you make sure you've got the right person. So let me ask you guys a question though. Have you ever had a company deliver the wrong package to you before, and then the company just tell you to keep it?
I have.
Yeah, I've had that happen. What about you, B?
No, I've not been lucky enough. I hope it was something good you got to keep.
Yeah.
It was during Christmas time. For my wife, she ordered something for one of my nieces, and the package before was stolen. That's not stolen. The driver delivered it to another house, so we believe that the driver delivered it to another house on purpose. It's like one of them big doll houses that was real famous during the time. So when a company replaced it, they sent 2. So we said, "Do you want us to send it back?" And they said, "No, because all the trouble y'all went through, just keep it." Because around Christmas time, and when it got stolen, they trying to explain to a kid why they didn't get their gift. So when somebody sent 2. So they told us go ahead and keep the second one.
Very interesting. Now let's go back to our audience. Shree says, this is too much work just to steal some stuff. And Shree also thinks that it is an inside job. She thinks that it's an inside job. Now, Gail brings up a really good point. Yes, restricting keys and having less people handling them is really, it is a good idea, right? It really is a good idea. Now, Brent says that was my first thought. It was an inside job. Yeah, that was my first thought too. Although we'll never know until they get more evidence or release more information. Right now, they are in the indictment phase. Now Shree is saying the one on the run has help. They're hiding in the trunk of a car in a closet somewhere, dyeing their hair and shaving their face. Now, Leslie is giving us a good understanding of what it's like in New York City and Manhattan. So much mail is being stolen when it is being mailed in mailboxes on the street. Many of the mailboxes have been removed, so you need to go to the post office to send your mail. Yeah, I think at this point we should all just have get a virtual mailbox where you go into one of those places and pick up your mail. And Carol is joining from YouTube, and she says, I have also experienced locksmiths that have made copies of master keys saying do not duplicate. You know what's interesting though? Nowadays, you can actually just go into Walmart or any of your favorite stores and copy a key. They have a machine sitting right there in a kiosk. You can stick your key in and make a copy right there nowadays.
But Rob, on that, I can tell you, it depends. Like, I've been a state employee for so long. When you get keys for certain offices at state buildings, and you can't take it to like a regular locksmith. You got to take it to a certain one because how their keys made is like codes embedded in the key. So if you go to take it, they will tell you this key is restricted and only can be made by certain people. I didn't know that, but one of my coworkers told me about that. They lost the key and they tried to get it remade, and they was like, no, we can't make it.
Yeah, I've seen those with the digital code embedded within the key. Yeah. Now. Now Gail was saying no, they would just ask if the person lived nearby and ask if you could wait. They ask you. So wait, the postal carrier asks you if you can drop it off for them. That's funny. Oh, and then Carol is like, yeah, I do the con thing. I just take it to my neighbors if it gets delivered to the wrong address. Yeah, that just makes sense. Ooh, now here's Stephanie again. You can sign up to have a scan of postal mail coming to you in the Daily Mail, and it's free. Yeah, I did that at one point. I think when I lived in Alabama, you get an email of all the mail that's going to be delivered to your mailbox, and it scans the first page so you can see where it's coming from, so you know if you need to rush home from work at lunch or not. But the other benefit too, though, is if a package comes up missing, you know what's missing. Ooh, okay. Now, Gail. Yeah, Gail says this conversation. We always raise good conversations here, Gail.
Yeah.
Gail says this conversation raises a good point. Who checks the checker? Meaning, doesn't someone in charge call around to confirm everyone is receiving their mail? No, we don't do that here. We got too many people getting mail. No, Gail, it is not pure pathetic island life. It's laid back, and you know what? Sometimes we need a laid back life.
Yeah, I would like the island life. Where is Gail? She's Barbados or
Yeah, right? Gail,
or
aren't you in
was it
Barbados? You just said
Bahamas?
it. Yeah, Barbados. Yep. So okay. So check this out now. So we've got a story where several individuals over a very short period of time stole a master key, unlocked some mailboxes, stole some mail, stole a bunch of checks, changed the pay to the order of the payee, changed the dollar amount, cashed those checks, and then had the money. I guess they used their co-conspirators to cash the checks and then transferred the money from the co-conspirators' accounts to their accounts. Whew. That's a lot.
That's a lot of people involved too. I'm surprised they didn't get caught sooner
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
because somebody always tell.
Yep. What's that old saying about the best way to keep a secret? Hmm. So listen, here's another stat for you. Last year, 340,000 packages with counterfeit postage and over 7 million counterfeit stamps, resulting in $7.8 million in losses for the U.S. Postal Service were seized. So 340,000 people shipped packages with fake stamps on them, And then 7 million counterfeit stamps were found, costing the U.S. Postal Service over $7.8 million.
Wow, like it's there's counterfeit money and there's counterfeit postage now. Like you need a pretty sophisticated machine to counterfeit currency or postage, you would think.
I used to work in a prison, so I don't think inmates would tell you all types of stories. It's like when you get a letter, something go through, and it's already been stamped. They do certain things like egg white and stuff, and they kind of rub it over and take it off, so you can reuse the stamp. Yeah, so criminals know all different types of ways to get over because they have nothing but time.
Wow. I'm learning lots from this show, Rob.
Me too. Learning a lot from Clarence.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Shree says the best way to keep a secret is to keep it to yourself. Now, Leslie says she's been getting the scan for the last few years, but the scary and upsetting part is that about 10% of the items never arrive, including checks, not just junk mail. And then she says, P.S. The good news is that at least I know I didn't receive, at least I know what I didn't receive, so I can request a duplicate. Yeah. So Leslie has signed up for that service where you can get a scan of the mail that's coming your way, and about 10% of her mail has not been received. Wow. That's insane.
And Rob, you said like they were stealing checks. I guess. Do you know if they were stealing money? You know, back in the day, people would send money in the mail. They would wrap it up either in newspaper or aluminum foil. So if certain envelopes come through and people who scan the mail see it, they will open it up because they tell you don't send actual cash in the mail.
Yep. My grandmothers used to send cash in the mail. We try to tell them don't send cash. They finally started using checks, but you know, they yeah. It's interesting the things that older people do, you know? And some of those things are very detrimental. Aha. So now I think that we have reached the point in today's show where a giveaway is appropriate. And I was trying to decide what I was going to give away today. You know what? I owe somebody an apology. Somebody won a mug and I think I sent them a book. That's my fault. And I can't remember who it is now because a lot of the things that we gave away were delivered this week and last week. And I was running through the list of things and I was like, I was supposed to give away a mug. And when I look back, I think I gave away a book instead of a mug.
Well, it's a good book.
Yeah, Benita has her copy.
Yeah.
Ooh, now Stephanie says, while I'm preparing myself for this giveaway, Stephanie says sometimes it is an unsuspecting money mule opening up accounts. Yeah, depositing checks given to them by the crooks and either sending it electronically or taking cash out and giving it to the fraudsters while keeping a portion. Could be teens, desperate people needing money, even the homeless. Yeah. Sometimes it is the money mules. You are definitely correct about that. We used to see that back in the day when I worked in the bank. Now, Leslie says one good story about the post office. An important document was mailed to her, and the envelope arrived empty. Wow. 1 week later, a postal worker mailed her the documents because she researched where you lived. So I guess the documents must have fallen out or something at the processing center, and then they found it out. Yeah. Very interesting. Now Gail says that's too funny, but they can accept all Kindle versions of books there in Barbados. Just saying. You know what I did? I did have to mail a book to Canada recently, but you bring up a good point. I could just do, but I don't want to do an Amazon gift card and then they don't buy the book. They buy something else with it. I, I want it to affect my Amazon rankings in a positive way. Because did I tell anybody? Yeah, I told you guys. My book hit #1 at one point in time on Amazon. I'm trying to push it back up the charts. Now it's at like I think 200 in the financial auditing category or something like that. I hadn't looked at it recently. You know what? I'm curious now. You're gonna make me. No, I'm not gonna look. I'll look after the show. All right. I've got everything set up now for the giveaway, and there are more than 3 entries. It's just the lag. So here's what I'm gonna say. I'm going to give you one last time. Drop that audit guy, hashtag that audit guy into the chat, whether you're on LinkedIn or YouTube. It all comes into one central bank, and your name will be entered into the drawing. The other thing that happens too is when I drop the hashtag that audit guy for people to copy and paste, it puts my name into the drawing. So last week on my other podcast, Audit Bites, which you should check out, I actually won, which was kind of funny. So I had to do a redrawing. Shafundu is here. Shafundu says he's winning today. Wait a minute, I didn't see you drop the hashtag, my man, or did you? And I just missed it. My man, Shafundu. Okay. So, drum roll. You know what? I need a drum roll sound effect. I got all kinds of sound effects, but I don't think I have the drum roll. Like I've got. I have a drum roll. I'm going to have to add that to my repertoire.
Yeah, you need that for dramatic effect.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so here we go with the drawing. And you see my name keeps popping up there. Watch your name again. Carol Lyman, you are the winner of the Ask Better Questions, Get Better Answers, Perform Better Audits book. All you need to do is drop me your mailing address and it will be in the mail too.
Or will it?
Ooh, that was a good one. We are talking about mail theft fraud, right?
Right.
Sorry, man. Not this week, Shafundu. Maybe next week. Maybe next week. Carol says, yay. Okay, so here's the next question I have. Completely lost my train of thought. All right, so Bonita, Clarence, anything you guys want to say to the people in parting?
Have a nice weekend.
Yeah, it's weekend.
Gail says that was a good one, Bonita.
Thanks, Gail.
All right, guys. So with that said, you know what? Should I give a teaser of next week's episode? Should I give a teaser? Okay. So next week, the title is The Nursing Home Nonsense.
Oh no.
The nursing
I'm gonna
home.
be mad. It sounds like I'm gonna get mad.
Yeah, you might. Yeah. You might get mad. So that's next week. Next week is the nursing home nonsense. Now, the other thing, I want to invite you guys to Audit Bites, my other podcast, November the 7th, episode 48. The title is Why Communication Skills Are So Important for Internal Auditors. Why communication skills are so important for internal auditors. So the nursing home nonsense, communication skills, and we'll see you guys next week.